144,000 chosen trees.
Assures we are Mood Alchemists, transmuting your thoughts into gold.
Ariska Gale.
Yes, ask me.
Meet me in the laboratory.
It's been a long time, but I left you a lot of content to heal to, heal to, heal to, heal to, heal to. Freak it. Oh my God, that was so cringe. I'm leaving it. Anyway, welcome back to another transmission from the Mood Alchemists. In today's transmission, we're going to be talking about the universal laws. There is a lot of misconception, at least from what I see, about the universal laws. You get people coming on posts and come in the comments saying things like there's pseudoscience, there's new age, and so on and so forth. And I am here today to bring some clarity about the universal laws, because in fact they are the oldest laws of the universe, even before religion. A lot of people think that religion is just like the oldest thing to ever come about because of their personal beliefs, and I'm not here to try to debunk that. I'm just here to state to you that it's something that goes beyond, or it connects back to universal laws in some way, shape, or form or another. Just because they're not calling it universal laws, that does not mean that that's where it's not derived from. So I'm going to briefly run through these laws. I'm not going to take a long time to do this. I'm going to briefly go through each one just so you all can have some clarity on what the universal laws really are and what they mean. And I'm going to break it down like how I break it down to my children. So this may sound a little, crazy how I'm saying it, because I feel like the way I break it down to them is easy for them to understand it. So that's how I'm going to break it down today. So let me start by saying that the universal laws is just one law. And that's the first law, the law of oneness, the one of divine oneness. That is the only law. The other laws, again, this is my perception of it. The other laws are like bylaws or sub-laws that basically explains how the first law applies to every part of your life. This is again, let me say this again, because when you look at it, it's like the laws are broken up into the more common one is 12. That you got the 7 hermetic principles, but you also got like the 12 universal laws. So that's the one I'm going to go off of today. But because it's broken up into 12, a lot of people like to look at them as 12 separate laws. I see 12 laws where 11 of the laws are an explanation of how the first law applies to your life, or how to apply the first law to every part of your life. But again, you'll see once I begin to go through how I view it, you'll see why I say that. Okay. So let's start with the first law. The first law is the law of divine oneness. That law states that everything is connected. No matter how you look at things, as far as something that's an inanimate object, a place, or a person, or whatever, it's all connected and it's all made of atoms. Okay? Atoms are 99.9999999% energy, okay, which is kinetic space, right? And only 0.0000001 mass or matter, okay, meaning physical. So basically everything is mostly energy. And that's I did a video before talking about how we don't see things. Our eyes just process light, and our brain interpret from the frequencies what we're looking at, and the mental reservoir that the collective have created to say this is this and this is that, to give it the labels or whatever. But it's still, like I say, all of it's still one thing. And everything is either an extension of you, meaning it's something that was created as an extension of something that your body already does, or it was created as something, it was created from a need. Like, meaning, perfect example. This is one of the examples I love to give my children. Like, look at your vehicle like a car, okay? And look at an actual car and how your body is connected to that. So in your body, your being, the actual you is inside of this body, this vehicle, right? And it's driving it, it's moving it around, it's controlling it, okay? The same way how you would a car. Now, the reason why we created cars is because it was a need. The reason why we created any type of vehicle outside of ourselves, plane, boat, whatever it is, whatever we created outside of ourselves, we created it for a need, because it was a need to travel at a faster rate, pace, or whatever, right? And also too, without tiring out our own bodies. Because let's face it, we could walk the earth. You know what I'm saying? We could, but look, you'll be tired as hell, and it would take you a really long time to do that. So the need for a vehicle outside of your vehicle, outside of the vehicle that you have, was created from the need to get places quicker and utilize less energy from your own personal body. That's why cars are created. Anything else, I mean, like, I can go on and on and on, but like I said, I'm not gonna make this video really long, but I can go on and on and on. Books, how we created books as a way for the external to be able to process the internal. Like, everything that's in this world, you already know. You don't remember it all, but you already know, because it's all a part of you. But this is why we created books, so that we could remember. The books are here to help us remember, point blank, period. Your phone. Before we had telephones, it was other ways we communicated, one being telepathy. But once we lost that ability or that connection to that spiritual gift, we needed a way to connect with someone across the globe without having to be right there in their face to do it. Hence the phone. Now, we can get back to that space, but that's another video. Again, that's a whole nother video. But yes, the phone was created for you to be able to connect with someone that's not right directly in your face and still be able to convey a message to them. Now we're going to get into what I say is the sub laws, and how those laws support the first law, which is divine oneness. Okay. The second law is law of vibration. That states that everything has a unique vibrational frequency. So again, this goes back to what I was saying about everything here is made of atoms. The difference in the atoms and how they manifest is frequency. Inanimate objects, although we view them as still, they're atoms. In order for them to even like be in this position, they are vibrating. They're vibrating so slow that we do not see the vibration, and we're vibrating much faster, so we see it. It's just like light or sound. They vibrate at higher frequencies, but it's still frequency, and they still have mass and weight, you know what I mean? But it's more light, it's more faster, so it's harder to see, or like you can't see sound. You know what I'm saying? In some light spectrums you can't see. So yeah, that's the law of vibration. Everything has its own unique vibration. The next law is law of attraction. Now this one is everybody's favorite law. It's the trending law, and I also feel like this is the law that rubs so many people the wrong way. I feel like this is the law that makes so many people feel like either the law of attraction, or either the universal laws is bullshit, or that it's new age, or that it don't work, or whatever. Like, I feel like this law right here is the law that does that, because it's the law that most people focus on. And it's the ego. It's the ego, because the law of attraction makes people think like, oh, I can just attract whatever I want, whatever I think about, da 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 da, and not realizing that the law of attraction works with the other laws to bring things into your existence. It's not just you think of something and then it happens. It's a whole process, and as I'm going on, you're going to see how the process goes. The law of attraction is just one of the laws that brings things into your reality. Okay, so the law of attraction is not okay. So it states what it's like is drawn into itself, right? People, again, mistake that with thinking that it's just thoughts, but your thoughts leads to actions, and also your actions have to align with the things that you want to manifest. So a lot of people they say the law of attraction is bullshit because they like, well, I think about money, I think about being rich, and I'm not rich. Why I don't have this? Why I don't have that? And they don't realize that a lot of the thoughts that, even though they may think about they want to be rich, they want to have money, they also are thinking about the lack thereof. So you can't like present both frequencies and then expect the one that you think you want to just pop up. You have to be there. You have to live that way. And a lot of times people's actions don't align with the thoughts that they're having. So yeah, it has to be in alignment. Your actions, your thoughts, and your frequency, your vibrations, they all has to be in alignment. And if it's not, then no, you're not going to manifest it. You're going to manifest more of the things that you don't want, because you are manifesting who you are at your core. So the things that you have in your mind, those blockages, those barriers, those things you tell yourself secretly that you maybe not saying out loud, the things you say about money, your views about money, your views about, how you attract things, like those things play a big part in your law of attraction. So it's not just your thoughts, it's your thoughts and your actions along with your frequency. And your frequency is created by those thoughts and actions. And those thoughts and actions are fueled by your emotions. So when you're saying I want to be rich, but then you're living poor, you're making poor choices, like you're making choices based off of survival and guilt and lack and things like that. When you're making choices based off that, no matter how much you say I want to be rich, I want to be rich, I want to be rich, if your actions are not aligning to that, if you're not behaving in that way, then it's not going to align. So people, like I say, people make the assumption that law of attraction is just your thoughts, but it's not. It's attracting who you are at your core, the real you, not the you that you try to tell everybody else, but the real you. And this is something that I'm having to read, like, and you go through these cycles because, like, it happens. I have been having to remind myself of these things as well. It happens. Life happens. You go through things, and the thing that you want to focus on is the thing that's right in front of your face, not realizing that the thing that's right in front of your face is from past thoughts. Like, what you're experiencing right now is due to thoughts you had before. And the best thing that you can do is correct in that moment, in those moments, is to correct the thoughts you're having in that moment so that you can reverse the energy that you put out before, and then therefore you can start to align more with the things you want. But the more you keep talking about the lack, the things you don't have, how much you want this and how much you want that, you can't want something and have it at the same time. So either you're gonna move in that energy like you have it already and be grateful and not complaining and stuff like that, or you're gonna complain and then be like, well, I want this, and you're gonna go, and then you just gonna keep attracting it. People, I feel like, don't realize that their thoughts, that the reality that they're living in right now is due to the thoughts they had before. And the only way to change that is in the now. To right now, regardless of what your situation is, change your thoughts, lift your frequency, raise your frequency, change it now. And then that way, moving forward to your so-called future, you'll be living in the reality that you're thinking about right now. So you gotta stop focusing so much on what's going wrong right now, because again, you'll see, but I'm gonna get into that. But it's because of past energy. That's what you're living in right now. Your past thoughts, your past actions. That's what you're living in right now. You want something to change? Create that change now in how you're moving now. The next law is law of correspondence, and this states, as above, so below, as within, so without. Everything that's going on in you is being projected outside of you. Everything that's going on above you, like as far as like the spiritual realm or the mental plane and things like that, those are the things that's manifesting into your physical reality. So whatever's going on inside of you is going to be projected outside of you. That goes back to the law of attraction. So you have to change that frequency within you. You have to, whatever it is that's making you feel like you don't have enough or whatever, you have to change that within you, because the more you feel like you don't have enough, the more it's going to manifest in your life, your current reality. As above, so below. As above is basically saying the spiritual realm, the mental plane, and below is you. You know what I'm saying? Also, too, if you want to go even more technical, as above, so below. As above is your higher chakras, the chakras above your heart, the throat, the first eye, and the crown chakra. That's above. So the things that's going on above, your heart chakra and above, those things that you feeling in your heart, the things you saying out your mouth, the things that you seeing with your eyes, the things that you are praying for, that you connected to the source or the Most High for. All that is your above, and so it's going to manifest in those lower frequencies, which deals more with your physical reality, your root chakra. That's your security and your home life and things like that. Your creativity, your sacral chakra, your willpower, your solar plexus chakra. All these things are going to be affected by your higher self first. So those things you do on the higher frequencies are going to have an effect on the lower frequency. And if you live in those lower frequencies, then you will never reach, I ain't gonna say you would never, let me not use never. But if you live in those lower frequencies, the frequencies below the heart, then it'll be hard for you to rise up into those other planes and tap into those other planes to change the reality so they can come back down. This is that Kundalini rising energy. You change from above down, not from down up. People think that like you got to do something in this reality to like, and that's what's going to change your reality, like by taking physical action right now. It's not so much physical action as it is you tapping into the spiritual plane and into the mental plane and changing your thoughts, changing how you feel about things, you know, changing your connection with the Most High, showing gratitude, appreciation. You know what I'm saying? So these are the things that actually are going to align you and bring those things into your actual reality. That's the law of correspondence. Law of action. That is, manifestation requires aligned action. Again, see what I'm saying? Like how these things are all connected? The action that you take. So when you start to think certain ways, right? Your actions will naturally, if you allow it, because sometimes you can resist it, don't get me wrong. But if you allow it, your actions will naturally flow in a direction of the thoughts that you're having. Say, for example, you're having a rough time in life, right? And all you do is focus on the things that's going wrong. Then naturally, those things, that's what's going to affect your heart and the things you say. And so your actions are going to align with that as well. You're going to be doing things that's going to be aligned with that. Whether you pay attention to it or not, you're going to be doing things that's going to align with the lower vibrational thinking and feeling. You know, so you can be in that same position and decide, okay, you know what, I surrender. Like me being negative, me complaining, me worrying is not going to change this. So instead, I am going to move in the frequency of love. I'm going to move in the frequency of gratitude, appreciation. I'm not going to worry about this. Whatever happens. I'm going to just take the actions that I can take. I am going to be happy. I am going to do things that make me feel good. That's going to make me feel at peace. It's going to make me feel joyful. That's meditation, dance, exercise, creativity. Like whatever it is that you do that's going to raise your vibrations and make you feel better and not focus on the things that you have manifested from the past. Those things that you start to do, like that if you start to think like that, then your actions will start to align and you're going to start doing those things just naturally. And the more you do those things, the more you are setting up the energy for more good to come in. But your actions will have to align. That goes back to what I said about the law of attraction. Your actions is going to have to align. It's not just your thoughts. Because if it was just your thoughts, like people, that's what I'm saying. People feel like that and they right. If it was just your thoughts, yeah, everybody that think they're going to be rich, going to be rich. It'd be a bunch of rich people around here if that it was just your thoughts. It's not just your thoughts. It's your actions, your frequencies, your emotions, your mental. It's all of it. It's a collective thing. Law of divine oneness. It's all together. It's not separated. It's broken down this way so we can understand how to apply it to each part of our life. So we can understand how each thing works together in this circle, this cycle. The next one is law of cause and effect. Every action has a consequence or a reward. So I guess the reason why they break it down like this, because we're going to get to it, because the first one is law of cause and effect, and the next one is law of compensation. I'm going to do these two together because to me, they are the opposite sides of the coin. So the law of cause and effect is every action has a consequence. The law of compensation states that we are rewarded for right action. Okay, so now you can kind of see why I do those two together, right? Again, like I say, they're all connected. It's just explain the things to you so you can get it. That's all. But the law of cause and effect is basically saying like whatever energy you put out, you get back good, or what it says consequence. So in that way, they're saying bad. But cause and effect, I feel like it's not just good, not just bad. I feel like it's good or bad. Whatever actions you put out is the actions you receive back. But that goes into the law of compensation, because again, they had to break it up so that you could get it. Cause and effect, I don't look at it as good or bad, but in correlation to the next law, which is law of compensation, I get it. Law of compensation states that you get back. Like if you put out good, you get good. Law of cause and effect says if you put out bad, you get bad. But they both go one and the same. Because if law of compensation, what you put into something is what you get. So if you put a little bit of good energy, then you get a little bit back. If you put a lot of good energy, you get a lot back. Same vice versa. If you put a lot of bad energy and stuff, and you being real negative, you nasty toward people, you treat people like trash, you talk bad about people, gossip about them, then you get that type of energy back. That's just what it is. So they go hand in hand. And again, when you are vibrating in law of cause and effect, and you vibrating low and you putting out bad energy, that's low vibrational. When you gossiping about people, talking negative about people, even about yourself, those energies that you put out, you receive that energy back. You know what I mean? And if you, like I said, just as if you speaking positive about people and good about people, you treat people good, you're doing good services and acts for people, and for yourself. Because again, like I say, don't get this twisted that it's just about doing for others. You also have to do for yourself. So if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not eating right, if you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not exercising, you're not taking time to decompress and rest, all these things come back on you. So it's not just what you're doing for other people, it's what you're doing for yourself too. Keep that in mind, because I think other people also think that acts of service is just to other people. No, acts of service is to yourself too. You have to take care of yourself, because you won't have nothing to give to nobody if you're not taking care of yourself. So keep that in mind. The next law is law of perpetual transmutation of energy, and that states that energy is always moving and always changing. Me and my children always have longer discussions on this particular one. And the reason why I think we have longer discussions, because one is longer. The title of it is long. It's what does that mean? What does all that mean? Transmutation of perpetual. What does that mean? You know what I'm saying? So law of perpetual transmutation of energy. Everything is always moving and everything is always changing. And I'm going to do that one with the law of rhythm. This is another one I feel like they kind of go hand in hand. The law of rhythm states that nothing is permanent. So law of perpetual transmutation of energy and law of rhythm, I feel, are another two laws that basically go hand in hand and are opposite sides of the coin. So the law of perpetual transmutation of energy is basically something that you're controlling. Okay? If something is going on in your life negative, for example, you can actually do things to change the energy of that. As I was just saying before, the cause and effect and all that, and law of compensation. You can do things that will set forth, and depending on how much negativity you have put into your cycle, that determines how long it may take. Again, with the law of rhythm, that determines how long it may take for certain things to switch. But you can always change it within yourself immediately. You can change, like if you're feeling bad about something, you can do something that can make yourself feel better immediately. Something can really just switch your whole energy and thought process almost instantly. Whereas on the other side of it, law of rhythm, the law of rhythm goes more in cycles, and that's something that you don't necessarily have control over, because the cycles are just what they are. They're cycles. They go on, and you don't control when they begin, when they end. They just are. And a perfect example of that, this is the example I give to my children. A perfect example of that is the seasons. In the springtime is when you plant things, right? In the summertime is when they grow. In the fall time is when you harvest them. And in the wintertime is when you live off of that harvest. When the wintertime come, you not left, out in the cold. You not like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? Because you have prepared yourself. You have moved with the cycles, and you knew when to do what. So you planted seeds when you're supposed to plant them. You gave them their time to grow, and you harvested them. You harvested them when you needed to harvest them, and stored them so that when the wintertime came, you weren't starving. You went with the cycles. That's the law of rhythm. That's something that you don't have control over. That just is. Now, law of perpetual transmutation of energy is not you going with the cycles, it's you going with your own cycles. You see that you're not in a good mood. Okay, let me do something to change that. I see that things are not going in my favor right now. Let me do something to change that. you have control of your energy. You have control over how you feeling at any given time, and you can flip negativity into positivity at any given time. You just have to know how to do it, what works for you. And then you doing that, you can definitely affect your law of attraction. So even if you're not in rhythm, that's what I was intending on saying. Even if you're not in rhythm, even if you're not in the flow with the law of rhythm, you can change your situation in that moment with the law of perpetual transmutation of energy by raising your vibrations and putting out positive energy and good vibes. You can change that, right? It's all saying that you can change things at any time with just changing your own frequencies, okay? So then we get into law of polarity. Law of polarity means that there are two sides to everything. So this also kind of goes in hand with law of gender, but it's slightly different. So I'm gonna do these two separately because it is a difference that I think is significant in between the two. But law of polarity, right, meaning there's two sides to everything. So first of all, let me go back and say, like with the law of divine oneness, when it comes down to the law of divine oneness, there is no polarity in that in itself. But in the realm that we live in the physical realm, we live in a polarity based realm. This is, and I'm saying this because the law of oneness, you got to think about it like this. The law of oneness, right, is a circle. It represents a circle, right? There is no like up and down. Only being that knows when the circle began and end is the entity that created it. So, and that's the creator, that's the most high. So you don't know, so you don't have control over that cycle again. And you're a part of it. You're not just it, you're a part of it. So in that is no polarity. It's no top and bottom, up and down, left and right in that aspect. But in the realm that we live in, yes, it is. And that you can see that in the way we even built, in the way our bodies are built. We have a lower and a higher. We have even as far as Earth, you got the northern hemisphere, you got the southern hemisphere. You got hot, cold, left, right, up, down, and all of, and technically, even when we're speaking on those things, they're still not separate. Our minds, our ego perceive it as separate. Like hot and cold is still the same thing. It's just difference in temperature. Up and down is still the same thing. If you go up further enough, you're gonna end up back down. Left, if you go further enough left, you're gonna end up back right. Like, you know, it's really, it's like, it's just how we perceive it. Like once you reach a certain level in your ascension, you'll realize that it's no separation in all this. This is just our mind perceiving it this way. But because our mind does perceive it this way, we have to take it for what it is. That on this realm, things have two sides, and that's how we perceive the things, as two sides. When you get in some water and it's too hot, you add a little cold in it to make it warm, to warm it up, to make it more cool. Again, it is about how we perceive it. You know, that's just really what it is. But law of polarity deals more with perception than anything, and so it's always in our best interest to view things in the best light as possible, because everything serves its purpose. Like I just gave the example about the hot and the cold. Like hot water can do a lot of good, as in cold water can do a lot of good, and vice versa. Hot water can warm things up where it can burn you. Cold water can burn you. If water is cold enough, think about like dry ice. Dry ice is so cold to where it feels hot to touch. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Depending on the temperatures of things, that's really it's just the degrees. That's it. But they're the same. It's pretty much the same thing. In my attempt to couple up other laws to give you an idea of the contrast and comparison of the laws, I skipped over law of relativity, which is a really important one, especially considering that I was coupling up things in relation to each other. How do I skip law of relativity? So I'm going to insert it here, and it's before the last law, which is law of gender. This law helps you understand to not compare yourself to others, because you are exactly where you're supposed to be. It's all relative, meaning it's always someone doing better than you and always someone doing worse than you. And likewise with yourself. You're always doing better than someone else or worse off than someone else. it's all relative. Your frequency is your frequency, so you should not compare your frequency to others. Mind your own frequency, because it's all relative. See, that one was straight to the point. All of them really straight to the point, but I was giving more examples for them than I'm giving for this one, because I'm inserting it and I don't want to make it extra long. So there you go, law of relativity. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. And then we get to the last one, which is law of gender. Manifestation requires a balance of energy. So this one right here is, again, this is another one that I spend a lot of time talking to my children about, because when we talking about gender and I'm explaining to them that they have both within them, they have masculine and feminine energy within them. Of course, it's hard for a lot of people to understand. Even adults it have a hard time understanding this, because it's like, no, I'm a man, or no, I'm a woman, and not understanding that when we talking about feminine and masculine, it's not in a sense of how we view it, again, as humans, where it's like man or woman. No, it's attributes, it's energy, it's frequencies still. Feminine attributes have different qualities than masculine attributes. They complement each other, but they are different in their expressions. Feminine qualities deal more with receiving, relaxing. When we say feminine deals with like negative is just basically meaning that you got to give something to it. Negative is like a taker, it receives, and positive is a giver, and that manifests in how our bodies incarnated. Like a man, for example, not to be on sound like I'm on some freaky deaky, but how the man, he has a sexual organ that gives, and a woman has the sexual organ that receives, and they fit together like a glove, right? It's designed that way for us to understand things about ourselves. The man is supposed to be a giver. This is where the whole concept of he's a protector, provider, and so on and so forth. But a woman is also a protector and a provider, just in a different way. A man is a protector and a provider in a sense of making sure that his family is well and safe. You know what I mean? And a woman is a protector and provider, and also in making sure her family is well and safe. But she does it in a more nurturing way. She does it in a way that's not so aggressive and direct. It's more passive. And in things like, making sure that the family is nourished and fed and clean. They have knowledge of things, knowledge of self. She gives and nurtures in that type of way. And this is why the woman is able to breastfeed. It's more so with that. It's more so with the woman being the feeder, the nurturer, and the man more so being the giver, the protector. He's the strength. He's, the figurehead. He is who is presented to the world, that representation of his family, but nevertheless, when it comes down to manifestation, you need to balance both. As an individual being, as your ego perceives you as, you have to be able to balance the two. You have to be able to be masculine, meaning you have to know when to act, when to do certain things, and then you have to know when to be in your femininity and relax and receive those things that you put forth the effort and action into. So it requires both. In order for you to manifest your reality, things you want, things like your desires, you have to be able to be able to move backward and forth between both energies. And so, having said that, I feel like that is a part of some things that's going on now with this gender war thing or whatever, which that's a whole other video as well. I'm not about to get into all that in this video, but I feel like it's because of a severe imbalance in the masculine and the feminine energies, and everyone is trying to be something that they're told to be versus going with their feel. Most women, if they be honest with themselves, they could feel more comfortable relaxing in their femininity if they had a masculine counterpart that was stepping into his. But in order to attract that, you have to balance it within yourself first. You have to know when to do certain things, when to be in certain energies. Because if you're a feminine woman and you want to attract a masculine man, but you and your masculine energy is going to repel him, because you need both. You need the masculine and you need the feminine. So if you're in your masculine energy, you're going to repel a masculine man, period. And vice versa. If you're a feminine man, you're going to repel a feminine woman, because she's going to desire a man who's going to be in his masculinity. So I think a lot of people think they masculine. They say, "Oh, I'm alpha. I'm this. I'm that." Like, first of all, it ain't really a thing like that for real. But so-called, what you want to say is so-called alpha, or whatever, and that confidence that you're supposed to have and all that. That's something that you don't have to speak on. That's not something that you have to announce and tell everybody. It's felt. Your energy will speak for itself. You don't have to tell somebody, "Oh, I'm masculine, I'm a man, I'm alpha." You don't have to do that. And the same thing with a woman. A woman don't have to say, "I'm feminine, I'm a girly girl." You don't have to say that. Your energy, because a lot of women that be like, "I'm a girly girl," can get real masculine, real like testy, depending on the situation. And that's not masculine. I mean, that's not feminine. So I trust that these laws and how I broke them down will help you understand how they all go together, and how they all fit into the realm of divine oneness, and just explaining how you use them in your life. I trust that you all got this message, you received it with love and understanding, and that you can learn to apply these laws into your life on a daily basis, regardless if you are spiritual or religious. These laws apply to you. So I trust that you can apply them to your life and live a truthfully abundant and blissed and joyful life, full of peace. Wadu. You are chosen.
124,000 chosen trees.
Assured. We are the Mood Alchemists, transmuting your thoughts into gold.
Risk and Gale.
Yes, yes.
Meet me in the laboratory.